Hello everybody, DMG Jim here for another video. We're still working through Chapter 3, the DM's Toolbox and the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. Slow and steady reading the frickin' module, reading the frickin' manual, going through bit by bit, making sure we read through it and kind of have a little discussion at the end of the video. The next section is going to be super important. I'm being facetious, but it is something that causes a lot of issues for our player characters. And the section that we are being advised on today is called Doors. Yes, the undefeated door, the difficulty DC 50 door, the thing that brings every adventurer to their knees, the doors. Let's see what the Dungeon Master's Guide 2024 version gives us in regards to managing doors, making them maybe more manageable, maybe something our players don't hate. We'll see. We're going to read through the section first, and we're going to chat about the doors. Keep in mind this also includes locks and traps and stuff like that for doors. So let's get into it here. The next section is doors. Not very big section, so let me preview on dungeon. You're going to go doors. We'll do dungeons next. Okay. Adventurers interact with doors often in a D&D campaign. This section gives rules for most of the doors the adventurers encounter. Common door is the door table. This door table provides the AC and hit points for common doors, which are considered medium objects. With the utilize action, a creature can try to force open a door that is barred or locked, doing so with a successful strength athletics check. The table provides the DC of the check. For bigger doors, double or triple the hit points and increase the DC of the check by 5. So a glass door has an armor class of 13, hit points of 4, and a DC to open of 10. That's some tough glass. Metal door, armor class of 19, 72 hit points, and a DC to open of 25. Stone door, armor class 17, hit points 40, DC to open 20. Remember, we're looking at the chart. The left column is the type of door. The next column is the armor class of the door if we're attacking it. The third column is the hit points of the door if they're trying to break it down. The fourth column is the difficulty class for the party to be able to just muscle it through athletically. So last but not least is our good old wooden door. Armor class 15, 18 hit points with a DC to open of 15. These are your averages and your starting points. Barred door. A barred door has no lock. A creature on the barred side of the door can take the utilize action to lift the bar from its brace, allowing the door to be opened. Locked door. Characters who don't have the key to a locked door can try to pick the lock using the thieves' tools. The lock complexity table tells you how long it takes to try to pick a lock based on its complexity. At the end of that time, the character picks the lock by making a successful dexterity sleight of hand check using the thieves' tools. The DC is determined by the lock's quality as shown in the lock's quality table. So, two tables here that we're looking at. The one on the left says lock complexity. It's either simple or complex. 1 action for a simple lock, 6 seconds. 1 minute for a complex lock, 10 rounds. You have either or there, okay? Followed by the lock quality. Quality is inferior, good, and superior, and the DC to unlock on the right side goes up by 5, 10, 15, or 20. The next section is secret doors. A secret door is crafted to blend into the wall that surrounds it. Sometimes faint cracks in the wall or scuff marks on the floor can betray the secret door's presence. Other than the fact that it's hidden, a secret door is similar to a common door. With the search action, a character can search for a secret door along a 10-foot section of wall and make a wisdom perception check. On a successful check, the character finds any secret door hidden in that section of wall, as well as the mechanism to open the door. The DC of the check depends on how well the secret door is hidden, as shown in the secret doors table below. You can instead call for an intelligence investigation check if the challenge involves deducing that a door is present from noticeable clues rather than spotting those clues in the first place. Look back at Perception in Chapter 2 for more advice on this. Secret doors table. The left column says what the secret door is or how secret it is, and the right column gives us our DC to detect. A barely hidden secret door can be found at a 10. A standard secret door is 15, and a well-hidden secret door can be as high as a DC 20 to detect. Secret door etiquette. Adventurers often fail to locate secret doors. For this reason, don't hide important treasures or locations behind secret doors unless you're comfortable with the characters not finding them. And don't risk letting your adventure grind to a halt because the only path forward is hidden behind a secret door. We'll talk about that here in a second. Portcullises, the next section here. Short section, yeah. Typically made of iron or wood, a portcullis blocks a passageway or an archway until it's raised into the ceiling by a winch and chain. Creatures within 5 feet of a lowered portcullis can make ranged attacks or cast spells through it, and they have 3/4 cover against attack spells and other effects originating from the opposite side. A portcullis can also be attacked and destroyed using the AC and hit point table of a metal door if it's iron, or a wooden door if the portcullis is made of wood. Winching a portcullis up or down requires utilize action. If the creature can't reach the winch, usually because it's on the other side of the portcullis, lifting the portcullis requires utilize action, a successful strength athletics check. The DC of the check depends on the type of portcullis as shown in the portcullises table. That's it. That's the stuff they're giving us on doors. So let's kind of unpack a little bit here, okay? A lot of the jokes in the D&D community are doors can be the worst enemy of the players. Doors can slow our parties down, especially when we trap doors. We'll worry about traps later in this section. But you mix locks and traps in doors, you have a single 3 foot wide by 6 foot tall wooden, iron-bound wooden door bringing your badass adventurers to a halt. Because why? We are teaching them how to deal with doors as we present them. So first and foremost, understand that most doors can be broke down, should be broke down. If you put a complicated trap on your door, allow the players to bust it open if they get frustrated with things, okay? There's nothing wrong with having a super secure door. There's nothing wrong with having multiple locks. But ultimately, if the door is there and the players need to get to the other side of it, we need to provide them an opportunity to either pick the lock or break the door down. We can't put a door between the players and the next objective and say there's no way to open this door, sorry. Quick way to undermine the trust, break the immersion, and end your adventure. One thing I noticed on the barred door, they do not talk about the difficulty of a barred door. If the first thing we're looking at is your barred or locked there, so a barred door can be lifted from the other side. If the door is not barred or locked, they don't need to break it open, okay? One little detail that I find that helps with my players is if I tell them what side the hinges are on. You notice the hinges on the left side of the door on your side, which means you're going to open the door pulling it towards you. You don't see the hinges, means you're going to have to push the door open. So a little bit of personal advice, pay attention to where you describe the hinges to your players, and they can figure out if it's a push or pull door. Or you can just tell them it's a push or pull door, but remember, hinges matter, because you're always going to have that player, well, if we knock out the pins on the hinge, the door will just fall down. They can't reach the hinges, they can't do that. Just a little bit of a detail there. Locked doors. This is an interesting thing. Most DMs don't pay attention to complexity and quality at the same time. A complex lock is going to take your rogue, your lockpicker, longer to work through than a simple lock. Okay, now I'm not saying it should go without saying is if there's the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom Sphere of Annihilation ball rolling down the hallway towards them and it's going to be there in 5 rounds, you don't want to put a complex lock that's going to take them 10 rounds to pick. Pay attention to the complexity and let the complexity fit what you need. If time is of the essence, sometimes a complex lock can make them, no, just kick it. Take the door down, we ain't got time to pick it. But use the complexity and the quality with each other, but pay attention to the pace of the adventure when you do these things. Does that kind of make sense? Not every door should take them a minute to pick through. But it doesn't hurt once in a while to have a more complex lock. Ultimately, make sure you're establishing this understanding early in your adventure. You don't want to get your players level 12 and suddenly have complex locks slowing them down for a minute, killing all of their concentration spells. Okay? Time is a resource in combat. Spells that are on a timer and you're wasting time on a minute of a complex lock, that's good and bad. Just keep that in mind. It can go both ways. Secret doors, the detection, the etiquette, and all those kind of things. Yes. The main thing I want you to focus on here is the secret door etiquette. Let me zoom in a wee bit here. Adventurers often fail to locate secret doors. For this reason, don't hide important treasure locations behind secret doors unless you're comfortable with the characters not finding them, and don't risk letting your adventure grind to a halt because the only path forward is hidden behind a secret door. This was part and parcel for classic dungeon crawls, okay? It's Tomb of Horrors, Lost Caverns of South Canth, White Plume Mountain, Expedition to Barrier Peaks, and on and on and on and on. Hell, Tomb of the Lizard King. If the players don't find the door, they don't advance through the module. Period, the end. They don't find the secret wall, the game's over. Make sure that you and your players are okay with that before you start setting up dungeons that way. Make sure they understand above the tabletop is okay. If you're depending on them finding this secret door, then they need to be aware that there's something in there for them to look for. Yeah, but this is really good advice. You don't want to let an adventure crash and burn because they couldn't find the hidden wall that led to the rest of the tomb. Guilty is charged here. I've had people. Well, it didn't ruin the campaign. They were not happy with that section of the adventure though. But it happens, right? Portcullises. Make sure when you're using portcullises that the defenders gain the bonuses of them. One thing that I want to forewarn you guys is you're going to have the winch on the far side of the portcullis. You're going to have that clever little wizard, mage, or warlock go, can I use my mage hand to turn the winch to open it? It's your call. If it's a smaller portcullis, let them do it because it's not as heavy. But remember, there are weight limits on your mage hand. So if it's going to require 2 hands and cranking your body, little Mr. Mage Hand floating Mickey Mouse glove is not going to be able to do it. That's my little piece of advice on that one. Be prepared for players to use their resources to try to open a portcullis other than just lifting it. But hey, that's the section on doors. Not a ton of it here, but there is a lot of nuance, a little bit more in comments than there is in the actual words. Doors are part and parcel of D&D. Learn how to use them to increase tension without slowing down your game. Secret doors, some DMs don't even use them because they don't trust your players to be able to find them. But no matter what, the more complexity you add to a door, the more you depend on secret doors, the slower your adventure pace will be. So doors can certainly separate the adventure and cause some tension, but they will slow the pace of your game down if employed poorly. So that's the one thing I'm going to go ahead and part with. Thanks for hanging out. That's the end of this section. Our next one is going to be dungeons. This one's going to be a little bit thick. A lot of tables that we'll be reading through here. So I'm going to prepare you guys in advance. The next video is going to be pretty long in this series. But hey, appreciate you hanging out. We're working through 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, Chapter 3, DM's Toolbox, focused on doors. Jump into Twitch, join us for live chat, push follow, subscribe, all that kind of cool stuff. Yes, I'm going to say it every video. I don't know when you're dropping into my series. If you're jumping in late, we've got everything from Chapter 1 to Chapter here already done. Look in the playlist and keep up with us. But hey, appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you for the next video.